for its 54-minute ride back to the steppe of Kazakhstan, where the trio on board the Soyuz descent module will be greeted by the Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces, including the NASA embedded team that is going to be en route to the landing site a short time from now in a variety of Russian Mi-8 helicopters. Here in Mission Control, Flight Director Garrett Hahn is on orbit at this hour. He's joined on console by spacecraft communicator Luca Parmitano, a veteran of Soyuz missions to the International Space Station. They are working in concert with the flight control team at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov on the outside. Departing crew members of Chinin, Pettit, and Wagner, clad in their blue undergarments, said farewell to the counterparts who are remaining aboard the International Space Station before they closed the hatch, first on the Rosviet module side of the docking interface, and then the Soyuz hatch on the other side of the docking interface to begin a series of leak checks and systems checks that was the precursor to the donning of their Sokol launch and entry suits that they're clad in the descent module of the Soyuz. You see on the right side of your screen Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut Takuya Onishi, who took over command of the International Space Station on Friday from Alexei Ovchinin. Onishi will remain commander of the station until his return to Earth with the Crew 10 crew later this year. The hatch to the Soyuz vehicle swung closed at 1:52 p.m. Central Time, 2:52 p.m. Eastern Time, to set into motion all of the systems checks that ultimately resulted in the undocking of the Soyuz from the International Space Station. With all of those systems checks having been completed, the hooks to the Soyuz that held it in place to the Rosviet module opened, and at 4:57 and 37 seconds p.m. Central Time, 5:57 and 37 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, the Soyuz pushed away from the Rosviet module, with physical separation occurring as the station and Soyuz flew 260 miles over southern Mongolia. There were a couple of separation burns that increased the velocity for the Soyuz's departure from the vicinity of the International Space Station, putting it now some 41 kilometers away from the station for the deorbit burn that is scheduled to occur just over 20 minutes from now. Again, looking at a replay of the departure of the Soyuz vehicle from the International Space Station, you see in the field of view the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft that arrived on April 8th with NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and Roscosmos cosmonauts Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zubritsky parking in the parking place right next door to the Soyuz that has just departed, the MS-26. Upcoming in about 18 and a half minutes, the deorbit burn, again a 4-minute, 41-second retrograde firing of the Soyuz engine to allow it to drop out of orbit for its descent back into the atmosphere. 23 minutes after the deorbit burn, there will be the pyrotechnic separation of the three sections of the Soyuz vehicle, the crew remaining, of course, in the center section, the descent module, with its heat shield repelling the heat that will build up to some 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit around the spacecraft. Once the vehicle has entered through the atmosphere, a drogue chute will be deployed and in turn will pull out the main parachute, that large orange and white parachute that you're familiar seeing on our broadcasts of previous Soyuz landings. That drag chute will slow the descent rate of the Soyuz down considerably, and then just a moment before touchdown, soft landing engines will fire to soften the impact on the ground, and the Soyuz crew will be home. The interesting part about the parachutes, the two pilot parachutes are first deployed, the second of which extracts the drogue chute. That drogue chute, once released, measures 24 square meters, slowing the Soyuz down from a descent rate of 230 meters per second to just 80 meters per second. The main parachute is then released, a huge chute covering an area of some 1,000 meters, slowing the Soyuz to a descent rate of just over 7 meters per second. Its harnesses first allow the Soyuz to descend at an angle, a canted angle, of some 30 degrees to expel heat, then shifts the Soyuz to a straight vertical descent. Once again, that pinpoint of light you're seeing is the Soyuz MS-26. We are inside 17 minutes until the deorbit burn. Just to give you some time hacks coming up on events to come, the deorbit burn again scheduled at 7:27 and 7 seconds p.m. Central Time, 8:27 and 7 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, 4 minute 41 second engine firing to act as a braking maneuver to slow the Soyuz down by 128 meters per second. 23 minutes after the deorbit burn, at 7:55 p.m., rounding it off, we should see the separation of the three sections of the Soyuz, as we just mentioned earlier in the animation. 3 minutes after the module separation, the vehicle will enter the Earth's atmosphere at an altitude of 326,800 feet. The crew on board will feel the first sensation of Earth's gravity in 220 days at that point. And about 1:30 after entry interface, as it is called, the vehicle will enter into the plasma regime, basically a big fireball that is generated around the vehicle, with the heat being repelled by the Soyuz heat shield. That plasma regime that the vehicle will be in is about 5 minutes in duration. We do expect a blackout period in communications until the vehicle descends past that period of peak heating and moves into a area in a lower regime in the atmosphere. Once the vehicle exits the plasma regime, we should see maximum G loads building up on the crew, some 4 to 5 Gs, at an altitude of 21 miles above the Earth. The command to begin the opening of the chutes that we just described should occur at 8:06 and 28 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:06 and 28 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. The landing itself is scheduled at 8:20 and 44 seconds p.m. Central, 9:20 and 44 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. That will be 6:20 and 44 seconds a.m. at the landing site in Kazakhstan, some 91 miles to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan. The current coordinates predicted by the ballistics folks at the Russian Mission Control Center call for the landing to occur at 47 degrees 19 minutes north latitude, 69 degrees and 34 minutes east longitude. The landing to occur 56 minutes after sunrise at the landing site. The weather at the landing site is good, some 44 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature, just a few clouds overhead, some partly cloudy skies throughout the course of the overnight hours at the landing site. Hopefully we will have good visibility as the Soyuz descends under its main parachute. There are a number of Russian Mi-8 helicopters in play as part of the search and recovery forces. 8 helicopters in all, 2 of which are stationed at the ballistic staging site well to the southwest of the primary landing site. Those 2 Russian Mi-8 helicopters are at the Kryany airport near the Baikonur Cosmodrome, the launch site for Soyuz vehicles. They would come into play in the unlikely event that the Soyuz moved into a ballistic entry that would create a shortfall in their intended landing target, which is to the southeast of the town of Zhezkazgan. There will be a half a dozen Russian Mi-8 helicopters in play for the prime landing site, including NASA personnel. Some 3,700 meters off the ground, 5 minutes until touchdown. Again, a view from Roscosmos at the landing site, still awaiting a visual on the Soyuz. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters did confirm a visual of the Soyuz descending normally under its main parachute. That was at altitude, but because it's overcast on this Sunday morning in Kazakhstan, on Don Pettit's 70th birthday, this view as we await a visual on the Soyuz prior to touchdown. Four minutes until touchdown.
$1,500, copy.
Once again, this is a live view about 1 hour after sunrise at the landing site in Kazakhstan on a Sunday morning.
We'll let them know. Sure will.
You can see Russian Mi-8 helicopters in the vicinity of the landing zone. We're still 4 minutes until touchdown.
$1,500, copy.
Once again, this is a live view about 1 hour after sunrise at the landing site in Kazakhstan on a Sunday morning.
We'll let them know. Sure will.
You can see Russian Mi-8 helicopters in the vicinity of the landing zone. We're still awaiting a visual on the Soyuz.
Burlak 1, our data says the altitude is 1,400, 1,400.
1,400 meters above the ground, according to the ballistic team at the Russian Mission Control Center.
We're feeling great.
The crew reports it's feeling great. Alexei Ovchinin, Don Pettit, and Ivan Wagner just minutes away from landing on terra firma.
1,000 meters the altitude.
Принял 1000, по нашим данным 1100.
Copy 1,000. Our data says 1,100.
1,100 meters off the deck.
Mine shows 2,000. 900 meters. 900 meters. I continue. I can see you. I follow you. Copy. The burlaks are feeling great and they've just passed the milestone of 900.
About a minute and a half until touchdown. The Soyuz descending through 900 meters.
600. Copy.
And there's our first view of the Soyuz. Just about a minute until touchdown. Everything looking good.
Высота, Леонидович. Так, 300 метров с ее объект проходит.
300 meters right now.
300 meters.
Сопровождаю пока.
There's a Russian Mi-8 helicopter. That will be one of the first helos to land after the Soyuz touches down. Just a moment or two before touchdown, the soft landing thrusters will fire to further reduce the impact. Standing by for touchdown. And touchdown.
It's
Soyuz MS-26 is home at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning. Don Pettit ends his 7-month mission on his 70th birthday.
It's on the ground, on the side.
Заходи первый, я на повтор. Понял. А где крышка, кто видит?
This is Mission Control Houston. The Russian Mi-8 helicopters that you see flying over the landing site of the Soyuz will now begin to land in a rapid-fire sequential fashion. And the television truck that's providing the video that you're looking at will begin to move toward the vehicle. So we will lose video for a short period of time until that truck has repositioned itself near the Soyuz capsule. Once again, landing occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Easter Sunday. Pettit, Ovchinin, and Wagner are back on Earth after 220 days in space and a mission of 93.3 million statute miles.
Передайте на 917, работу закончить, возврат на точку.
As you can see, the Russian Mi-8 helicopters are beginning to land, as is the plan. The first personnel will be from RSC Energia, working in tandem with the Rosaviatsa search and recovery forces to begin to approach the vehicle, making sure it is safe, free of toxic gas emissions, before they begin the process of extracting the crew. We'll also find out here shortly whether the vehicle landed upright or was pulled on its side.
Done, go back to your original position.
So the record books now reflect Don Pettit having accrued 590 days in space on 4 space flights, Alexei Ovchinin 595 days in space, and Ivan Wagner 416 days. And the reports from the search and recovery forces now confirm that the Soyuz landed and was pulled onto its side by winds at the landing site that often will pull the parachutes and thus result in the Soyuz moving from an upright position to landing on its side. So the Soyuz is on its side. That will not be an impediment to extracting the crew. It's just a different technique that will be used out of a different hatch to remove the 3 crew members.
Космос 047-44, 25 минута до взлета на Kazakhstan. Надо заправку. Продублируйте, пожалуйста. 704, 25 минута взлет на Kazakhstan, надо заправку. 704, космос принял. Прием. Выключился. Первый выключил. Прям за аппаратом выходи.
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, you're looking at the front screen at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow, and the graphic on their center screen with the words, Есть посадка, they've landed, as they did at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning on Don Pettit's 70th birthday. With a docking to the International Space Station's Harmony Module Zenith port, the space-facing port, at 7:20 a.m. Central, 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday morning. Once again, a view from the field in Kazakhstan of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that have landed in a circular pattern around the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft. Following the arrival of the SpaceX CRS-32 cargo mission to the International Space Station, this coming Thursday, April 24th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we will hold a spacewalk preview briefing at the Johnson Space Center, looking towards a spacewalk, US EVA as it's called, 93, that is targeted for May 1st by NASA astronauts Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers, to build up a mounting bracket upon which the next series of ISS rollout solar arrays will be delivered on a future flight. They will also move a communications antenna to a different location on the space station to provide more favorable visiting vehicle communications for upcoming missions that will include the launch of the Japanese H2 transfer vehicle, its new version called the HTV. And again, this lot out of the vehicle. This is Mission Control Houston. Again, this live view from the landing site, about 91 miles to the southeast of Zhezkazgan, Kazakhstan. You can see on the right side of your screen, amidst the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that have all landed now in the vicinity of the Soyuz MS-26 spacecraft, you see that orange structure there. That's the inflatable medical tent that the crew will be brought into. And now we're getting video of the landing site. There's Alexei Ovchinin, the Soyuz commander, who has been brought out of the vehicle, first out. 595 days in space on his 4 missions. Once again, a look at Alexei Ovchinin, the veteran cosmonaut, Soyuz commander. He was the station commander up until Friday for Expedition 72 before handing over that task to Takuya Onishi, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency astronaut. There's a view of Bill Ingalls, the NASA chief photographer, who's right at the hatchway of the Soyuz vehicle.
Stand by and let me take a look.
Сейчас проверь, есть шум.
As the search and recovery teams work to extract the other two crew members, a good view of Alexei Ovchinin, the Soyuz commander. As mentioned earlier, touchdown occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 9:20 p.m. Eastern Time. Soyuz vehicle was pulled over onto its side after touchdown, which is not uncommon.
Чуть-чуть ближе удочку.
Slightly closer, please.
Наверное, золотое.
Давай, я...
On Easter Sunday in Kazakhstan, Alexei Ovchinin peeling a hard-boiled egg. And Don Pettit now being extracted.
Снимайте ее. Не снимайте. Камера все опустили. Вы слышите, что камеру опустили?
Under overcast skies, the temperatures at the landing site in the high 40s Fahrenheit. Alexei Ovchinin eating a hard-boiled egg presented to him by the search and recovery forces. This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, Ovchinin and Don Pettit of NASA are out of the Soyuz vehicle. Ivan Wagner is the last that is in the process of being extracted. Continuing to receive live television from the Soyuz landing site, Alexei Ovchinin and Don Pettit out of the Soyuz vehicle.
An interview real soon.
Ivan Wagner in the process of being extracted.
Lower, please. Careful.
And Ivan Wagner now out, being placed in his chair. All three crew members out of the Soyuz.
Okay, what are your emotions? What are you feeling now that you're back on Earth? It's Easter, the 20th of April, inaudible.
Сейчас все тут. Давай. Отойди в сторону,
Move to the side, please.
Назад.
And back.
Ivan Wagner, having wrapped up his second mission in space, 416 days in all.
Степаныч, немножко в сторону уйдите.
To the side.
Ушел. Его увезли уже, унесли. Его уже унесли, да.
He's out of here.
Да. Его сказали не снимать.
He's been taken care of.
Еще.
This is Mission Control Houston. The video again coming to you from the landing site in Kazakhstan, some 91 miles to the southeast of Kazakhstan. A bullseye landing for the Soyuz MS-26 on Easter Sunday, Don Pettit's 70th birthday, bringing to an end Pettit, Ovchinin, and Wagner's 220-day mission aboard the International Space Station. All of the entry and landing events occurred on time and on schedule, with touchdown occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning, about 56 minutes after sunrise.
Алексей Николаевич, похожий. Давай. Лёш.
Thank you so very much.
The crew displaying nesting or matryoshka dolls This is typical of all Soyuz landings, gifts to the crew members from the search and recovery teams. And first to be carried toward the medical tent is the Soyuz commander, Alexei Ovchinin. Once inside the medical tent, the 3 crew members will be helped out of their Sokol launch and entry suits. They'll move into more comfortable flight clothing and will subsequently board helicopters to be flown back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan.
One is live.
Ivan Wagner taking a few sips of hot tea.
Вова. Ты сейчас будешь продолжать?
Сейчас 2 секунды. Сейчас 2
Ivan Wagner now being lifted and will be moved toward the medical tent to join Ovchinin.
Мы же не американцы. Ну да. Сейчас. Что, убираете вы? Да, конечно. Все это даже.
Wrapping up? Oh yeah.
Ivan Wagner being brought into the inflatable medical tent. Don Pettit was brought into the medical tent a short time ago, joining Alexei Ovchinin. So all 3 crew members now have moved into the inflatable medical tent to get out of the Sokol launch and entry suits and move into flight clothing prior to being flown by helicopter back to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan. Once in Karaganda, Pettit will board a NASA plane to be flown back to Houston, while Ovchinin and Wagner are flown on a Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to Star City, Russia, their training base and home outside of Moscow. This is Mission Control Houston, a view here inside the International Space Station Flight Control Room at the Johnson Space Center at Mission Control. The mission of Soyuz MS-26 has come to an end with the on-time successful landing of Don Pettit, Alexei Ovchinin, and Ivan Wagner, all three crew members extracted from Soyuz, all three crew members inside the medical tent at the landing site, landing occurring at 8:20 p.m. Central Time, 6:20 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning, wrapping up a 220-day mission that spanned 93.3 million statute miles. With the three crew members out of Soyuz and in the medical tent, they'll be flown back by helicopter a short time from now to the staging city of Karaganda, Kazakhstan, where they will split up. Don Pettit moving into a NASA plane to be flown back to Houston, while Ovchinin and Wagner are flown back to their training base in the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center aircraft to Star City, Russia. So that will wrap up our coverage for today. All of the events from hatch closure to undocking to the deorbit burn, all of the entry events having concluded successfully, bringing home Pettit, Ovchinin, and Wagner, and bringing to an end their 220-day mission in space and aboard the International Space Station. So with that, we will now look forward to the next activity on the station, that being the launch in the wee hours Monday morning of the SpaceX CRS-32 cargo craft atop a Falcon 9 rocket, scheduled for launch at 4:15 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday morning. NASA Plus coverage to begin at 3:55 a.m. Eastern Time. That will begin about a 28-hour rendezvous toward the station, with docking scheduled on Tuesday, April 22nd, with our rendezvous and docking coverage to begin at 6:45 a.m. Eastern Time, culminating with a docking to the Harmony module of the International Space Station at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that, we'll conclude our coverage for the day. Thank you for joining us throughout the course of the day. Soyuz MS-26 and its three crew members safely back on Earth. This is Mission Control Houston.